Hey guys, Becky with Design Bundles here, and I'm super excited to have you join me today because we have a really great tutorial for Silhouette Studio. We are going to talk about creating your own designs for No Sew Applique, which this is part one of a two-part tutorial, so make sure you check out the follow-up video, but this is what I'm talking about with No Sew Fabric Applique, and this is the project that we're heading towards today. Alright guys, so here we are in Silhouette Studio, and I have already purchased and imported my SVG file, but I wanted to show you what drew me to this file and what made me determine that it would be a good file to add as a No Sew applique. Now, I also want to tell you, you want to be careful anytime you are modifying a design. After I modified this design, it doesn't make it my design anymore. It's still a modification of a design that I've purchased. Okay, so I just want to clarify that right off the bat. And to be honest with you, anytime you're going to modify a design, definitely make sure you read the terms and conditions of the files that you purchase. So just something to keep in mind. But typically speaking, I haven't run into any specific cases where this has been an issue. So I did want to show you guys how to do it. Now, like I said, what drew me to it was going to be this paw print here. And what that means is I was able to easily identify an area that would work good with fabric. Anytime that we're talking about cutting fabric, we're not talking about cutting designs that are really intricate. And then also we want to make sure it's an area of the design that we can work with independently. There are a few exceptions to the independent rule, but for the most part, I can separate this paw print out and pretty much do with it as I please. And that's going to make a difference whenever we get ready to start working with this. So in addition to that, it's a design that I feel like will work well with glitter heat transfer vinyl because I am using glitter heat transfer vinyl to kind of seal in the edges of my fabric. So that's important to me too. But a lot of that will make more sense once we get into it. So let's just jump on in. Now, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to ungroup this design. And a lot of that is because this is a two-layered design. So we actually do not need the layered part that is the buffalo plaid overlay. So we'll just go ahead and delete it. Now, the one important thing to know when you're working or getting ready to set up a No Sew applique is you need to have a good understanding of using the offset tool. So if you don't already have a grasp on that, then feel free to check out our video on using the offset tool. There's a lot of really great information in there. But what I want to do is I want to click right here, and I'm going to change this to a color other than red. Let's make it just a light gray, a light color. And the reason that is because my offset outline colors will also be red, so I don't want that to be confusing. So I'm going to come over here to my offset panel and choose just a regular offset, and the default distance of 0.125 in this example is good. What I want to pay attention to is, does it overlap the other parts of the design? For this design specifically, I want that to overlap because I want to weld them together. So just depending on the design that you're working with, you want to make sure it does or does not overlap. So I'm going to choose apply. And then see how it breaks apart into two pieces? I want to go ahead and group that together. Now I'm going to click on my gray paw print again, and this time I'm going to choose internal offset. Now, I don't need it to be quite as thick internally, so I can use the arrows to kind of gauge that down. So I'm going to stop at the 0.085. It does still overlap my paw print design, but not significantly. So I'm just going to hit apply, and it breaks that apart again, so I'm going to make sure to group those together. Now, here's the important part. I'm going to leave this selected. See how I have the box around that inside paw print design I just created? I'm going to hold down the Shift key on my keyboard, and I'm going to click the red outside offset. Then I'm going to right click on my mouse and choose Make a Compound Path. So that gives me a compound path of that outline design that I just created. If you want a visual, there we go. Now what I want to do is I want to leave that selected hold down my Shift key again, click on my black line here that's part of my design, right click and weld. Okay, so what I've done is I have created a part of the design here that is separate from the paw print and is going to serve as an edge to seal in the outside pieces of my design when I cut this out of fabric. Now I don't have to leave those lined up necessarily. We are going to cut them separately, but I want to pay attention here. I want to leave that where it is, so I am going to go ahead and weld those together. So now we have two completely individual designs. The only other thing to keep in mind is you want to size these together. All right, so this is going on a tote bag, so it can hold a fairly decent sized design. So I will go ahead and make it as large as I can on my mat here, and then I can separate them if I want to. Let's go ahead and look, I'm going to fill this with a pattern just to demonstrate that it is with my fabric. Okay, now as far as the designing purposes, we are completely finished with the design. All right, so it's actually really quick and easy as long as you're choosing a design that you are sure is going to work well for you. Okay, now this is just part one. This is us setting up our design. And then of course we will have part two where we will show you the actual application process. But hopefully you learned a few things about working in your software and how to identify designs that you can use for No Sew Applique. Now this is the design that we're going to use, so I'm going to go ahead and save it and move it off to the side. But I want to show you just a really quick thing that you can do. No Sew Applique is really cute for baby monogramming or even child monogramming. So in order to choose a font that is going to work well, you want to choose a nice bold font. So you can come through your selection of fonts, decide what's going to work well for you, but do just make sure that it's going to be nice and bold. Now I'm going to use this Uncle Grump. It is honestly one of my favorite bold fonts. I use it a lot, but what I want to show you is that it actually comes with its own outline. So that is really useful in order to set up a No Sew Applique design, because then I don't have to set it up myself. What I can do is come in here and just show you the middle line is going to be the actual fabric. So let's choose a just cute little pattern to fill that in. And then the offset line is going to be our glitter heat transfer vinyl. So I thought that was a really neat find to be able to do No Sew Applique. But if you want to use a different font, like I said, just choose a bold font and then you can set up the internal and regular offset to form your own border using the offset and then the make a compound path. And of course, so I've shown you a quick little monogram and I've shown you a design, but keep in mind that you can do this pretty much with any shape. You can do this with hearts, you can do it with stars, you can do it with paw prints. Anytime you just want to add a little extra accent to the design that you're working with, and then you can pair it up with a cute pattern fabric. This is also a great alternative to using pattern heat transfer vinyl because, you know, I know a lot of us have fabric stashes. I'm not even a fabric crafter and I have a fabric stash. So, you know, a lot of times you can find some really cute patterns in fabric that you cannot find in pattern heat transfer vinyl. So awesome, really, really awesome. I really like to use this a lot. I used it a lot when my daughter was younger to make really cute things. And these are just two really awesome designs to be able to get this done. So guys, how did you feel about setting up the No Sew Applique designs? Hopefully a lot of that made sense for you and it takes out the intimidation of learning how to create designs like that, because I promise if you just take the time to really examine the design that you're looking at, you'll easily be able to see if it's something that you can use with fabric or not. Now, this is the sneak peek to the follow-up part 2 project, because of course we can't just leave you hanging with the video tutorial, the software tutorial. But guys, if you have any questions or comments about the software portion, please make sure you leave those below. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, that way you get notified of our new videos. And guys, I just really appreciate all the support you show for us. If you don't mind, share with a crafty friend, or if you learned something new, give it a quick thumbs up. I just really really, really appreciate it. And I'm gonna wrap it up for today, but we'll see you again next time.